Hello, this is David Baumblatt from Terabint Leadership. Today's episode, we are going to be talking about race, particularly the white European race, and particularly in the West. And just this topic alone, assuming that if you're a white man in the West, how sensitive is this topic already? Any type of topic, we talk about race, we talk about feminism, we talk about immigration, we get very, very uncomfortable, particularly about race. And that right there should ask you why. Why do we get so uncomfortable talking about this? And I could say one thing is when I left America in 2010, this topic that I'm about to be talking about, I would not have talked about it like I'm talking about it now. I've changed. And part of the reason is when you, as a white person, become a racial minority, especially an extreme racial minority, meaning it's less than 1% in China, it will change you. And so before we begin, if people said, what's the solution? I'm going to tell you now that there are many white people, and these would include MAGA and liberals, that I don't think they're ever going to change until they go through the gauntlet. And what do I mean the gauntlet? The experience, until you actually become a racial minority in America, which it could be too late by then. I really think it's too late. But once you become a racial minority, I think then you'll wake up. Until then, I think in some ways it doesn't really matter what you're going to hear because you're still into this mindset of the white man's racist and this and this. Before we go into that, though, let's talk about current topics. And I think what we're going to do is start out there. There's some obviously threads that I'm going to show you here, but we're going to go back to Donald Trump for the same reason that my story is being purposely covered up and censored by our United States government. Look what's happening with the Epstein files. Meaning, again, one of the reasons I never went open to the public in 2007, I said three reasons, but one of them is no one's going to believe me. The FBI covering up, the FBI's corrupt, I don't know, the Epstein files. You really don't think the Trump administration, and again, I am a Trump supporter, but you have to call a spade a spade. If anyone does not believe that the Trump administration, this would include the FBI, the DOJ unit, is not purposely covering this up, you're crazy. This is one of the reasons we voted Donald Trump in. Let this stuff out. They're purposely not doing it. I don't want to go so much into this. We'll do another episode, but supposedly Ghislaine Maxwell has said that if Trump pardons her, then she pled the fifth. They wanted her to talk. She will then openly talk, but Trump has got to give her the pardon. Have you ever seen a case like that where you don't think Trump now, if all of a sudden, I don't know if this will happen, but if Donald Trump ends up giving her a pardon, she said, if Donald Trump gives me the pardon, I will then talk and I'll say that Donald Trump is innocent of all crimes. You don't think that's an undue influence that the person who possibly is implicated, and again, I'm not accusing Trump of anything, but I do believe either he is guilty or he knows associates who are guilty and he's purposely hiding this. And if you're MAGA and you're okay with this, then I don't understand what your principles are, what we're fighting for. But anyway, let's go to this clip because we're going to talk about it, but we're going to go now to Sean Ryan. We're going to open this. We're going to get to the white race, but I just want to open this quick. And this is what Sean Ryan is talking about, and then we're going to go back to this other part here. But this is Sean Ryan talking. Let's hear what he has to say.
I think it's all real. I think we all knew it was going to be horrific, and we don't even know the half of it, but it is worse than we were all expecting. But I'll tell you one thing that it has proved. Watching the administration dodge it.
Now, something to be known, Sean Ryan, I reached out to him. He knows because we're going to compare this. Sean Ryan and his team know exactly about me. What I'm reporting with, it's in line to this. What is it? Government corruption, the corporations, that meaning the number one enemy. I keep saying the number one threat to America is the inside threat. It's not China, it's not Russia. They're threats, they're not the biggest. I reached out to Sean Ryan, a fellow military vet. He knows about me. He doesn't want to report on my case. So now he's wondering why doesn't Trump or these other MAGA medias want to report on the Epstein? It's very similar because they really don't care about us, Sean, like you really don't care about me. And we're supposedly two military veterans.
And try to hurry it up and move along. I just saw today They don't think the American people should be talking about this anymore.
I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else, really. You know?
Are you kidding me? And again, the next clip I'm going to show you is going to be surprising, but I still put Trump as the best president in my entire lifetime. But I said he's not going to solve it. And he's not my ideal president. He is not a nationalist. He's just the closest thing that I've ever seen to nationalism. But Donald Trump says we got to move on. From an intelligence perspective, as a former intelligence officer, I can't think of anything bigger in terms of an intelligence public cachet that's ever come back, that's ever come out in at least my lifetime. I think also Massey, I'm forgetting the guy who I'm kind of interested in, even though he's not going to save the day. What is his name? Massey from Tennessee, who doesn't like Donald Trump. He said the same thing. This Epstein file is the biggest thing that's ever hit us, and this and that. But if you've got common sense and you don't think this Epstein file is important in terms of corruption, globalism, elites controlling us, I don't know where you are. But Donald Trump says, let's move aside. And we're going to get back to Sean Ryan. But Sean Ryan says, hey, why are people ignoring this story? I don't know, Sean. Why did you ignore me? Aren't we military veterans? Aren't we brothers? Nah, this country's falling apart. It's going to go to guns and ammo.
And now that nothing came out about me.
Well, I got news for you. The American people are the ones that voted you in. We're the ones that voted you in, and we told you what we wanted before your ass.
So don't get me wrong. I agree with what Sean Ryan is saying here. He's 100% right. But I'm saying, Sean, I reached out to you. I communicated back and forth to your administration people on email. You know about me. Why wouldn't you want to have me on your show or just post something about a military veteran on the FBI terrorist watch list? What's going on? Even my story is very, very odd. Why? I don't know, Sean. You don't care about me. They don't care about you. People don't care about you. Where is this going? The country's going to fall. And I've said that. Our systems aren't working anymore. And sooner or later, more and more Americans, even like a guy like Sean Ryan, who makes millions of dollars, he's going to see too. This system's falling. I knew this is going to happen. Give it time.
Got in there, and you're not doing it. None of these people that we elected. It's pathetic. And so what it shows is a two-tiered justice system, just like we all suspected and we've been talking about for years. The two-tier justice system. Why would you not invest?
Let me bring this up. This screen's better. So the two-tier justice system. How many people do you know, like I said, had a lawsuit both in China and in America for a company like Boeing, which is the American government, And I'm living proof. I'm not saying I'm on the bandwagon. I'm saying the Chinese justice system is all that great. But in my case, it's black and white. That this two-tier justice system in America, the rich, and who was it? The Boeing Corporation, that's basically the American globalist government. The federal judge, the globalist government, wouldn't even let me go take my case to court. And China, it was fast. Went to court. I mean, any common sense person would see my case. You don't need to go to law school. It was black and white. And what's the two-tier justice system? I don't have money. I don't have influence. I'm not part of the power. We know it. In America, if you have influence, if you have power, if you have money, you have justice. And they always like to say, no, it's these other countries that don't have a good justice system. I mean, I'm living proof, at least with my example, it's absolutely false. Do you realize why my story is not a very popular story with these globalist government and stuff? We'll keep going. We're going to press on with this.
Investigate every single son of a bitch that went to that island. Doesn't mean they're all guilty. Doesn't mean that at all. But it at least calls for some type of investigation, not just sweeping the shit under the rug.
I mean, think about it. The FBI, this Indian man and Danny Boy Bongino, we talked about him. Think about we're in the FBI. I don't know. What should we investigate? Epstein files? Nah, I cannot think of anything that is such an importance where the FBI should just go boom, balls to the wall, investigate. Why? Donald Trump said no. And little Indian man, Kash Patel, the Indian man who likes to eat curry every day, he's like, yes, sir. But he's going to fix the FBI. Remember, before Donald Trump was elected, the FBI was corrupt. That's why these grifter FBI agents were on there. And now that Donald Trump is elected, he put the Indian man in charge, and Dan Bongino, I guess it's fixed. I guess the FBI is no longer corrupt. Wow, problem solved.
Like they always do, and they always have done. They bat this shit around. They get people all fired up. And then there's no justice. None. I'll tell you what, though. There sure as hell would be if it would have been me and you. But nope. The political elites answer to no one. No one.
They really don't. It's amazing. I wrote this in my book to make sure it's clear. The biggest threat to the American people, and this also goes to this episode, give me time, we'll get there, about the white genocide. The biggest threat to our Christian faith, our European family, and just our freedom of speech is not China or Russia, you morons. I'm not saying I'd be friends with China and Russia. I would still have a very keen eye. They are threats. In fact, I've always said, I wrote it in my book, China is the biggest foreign threat. But this domestic threat of these globalist corporations and this globalist government, they will destroy us, to include the white race, which we'll go into soon.
That's how it goes. That's how it's been for a long, long time. Unbelievable. You know, I don't even see right or left, Republican, Democrat, black, white. I don't see.
It's interesting. I haven't seen Sean Ryan's show in a long time. I wrote him so many times because I'm like, this is perfect. He's military, I'm military. But what did I say? As much as these, and I want you to remember this because this is going to be the next slide coming up. As much as I look at these leftist kooky liberals and I say we can't live with each other, we have to separate. They're not our number one enemy. I know MAGA wants to tell you we're doing a tangent, but you know, like the football game, the MAGA are so big on this, what's this guy called? Bad Bunny? And they're like, yeah, Bad Bunny and Kid Rock. Guess what? I haven't watched the Super Bowl in 20 years. Probably if you're a real nationalist, instead of saying, don't watch the Bad Bunny thing and watch Kid Rock, why don't you just ban the whole Super Bowl? Has the Super Bowl really helped you out as an American? It's part of the globalist corporations. So I'd say as a nationalist, don't even waste your time with Kid Rock. Don't waste your time with Bad Bunny. Why don't you just not even watch the Super Bowl? It's a waste of time anyway. But I'm telling you, it's very difficult for you to believe me, but sooner or later, that the far left, it's similar to China and Russia. They're a threat. The best way to do is a divorce. They're not our number one threat, people. It's not our number one threat. The best way we can work with the far left is to focus on the number one enemy, and then we're just going to have to do some type of divorce.
Any of that shit anymore. I see good, and I see a whole lot of evil. And those are the two categories that we need to be concerned about.
They are legitimately, proactively protecting. They are protecting by redacting the.
Now, I believe, again, I've watched his show. I believe he's got a Democrat on his show. Democrat. In fact, when I wrote, again, I'm not on the Democrat bandwagon. In fact, I don't have any faith with any politician unless you're a true nationalist, which will be some type of secession. It has to be some type of split. We're not coming together. But notice he's got a Democrat on there. The only congressman that reached out to me with all my letters, I did the story. His name is Congressman Soto, a Democrat from Florida. I don't know if he's still elected or still in office. This is 2 years ago. And I did the story. If you want, I'll do another video. I responded. One of his people responded to me. So again, I'm not on the bandwagon of Democrats. But if you think these Republicans are our boys, it's not. And Donald Trump, the best way I could say, he's like the best we have, but he's not going to solve it. He's not going to solve it. Why? He's too much infused with the globalists. But he's definitely something I've never seen before, and I do think he is a strength to get the system eventually. It's going to be transformed through his actions, whether you like it or not. But notice Sean Ryan, he has a Democrat on the show, and guess what? The Democrat's right. End of story. Epstein file, the whole thing needs to go open. I don't care about people being embarrassed, people being put in jail. It is what it is. The FBI, it should be front and center to the FBI. But Indian Cash Patel, they want to investigate me. They think I'm more important.
abuser's name. The White House, listen up everybody, the White House is protecting, you hear that? They're protecting, that's what they're doing.
Okay, so what I want to do is, I just want to show Sean Ryan, we're going to do a couple clips and then we're going to see it. What I want to show now is on Twitter, and what you're going to see is, one second, let me bring this up. Let me add this to stage. Okay, the reason I'm bringing this up is this person, now anyone knows me, let me see you're seeing this right. Look at this person's on X. He's got, I stand with Ukraine. I personally don't. I mean, it's like Taiwan, it's like Israel. Oh, and he's got an Israel flag and he's got a Ukraine flag. Anyone with common sense knows that this guy is probably not going to be aligned with me. And he's like, he's a left wing. Well, whatever. But you know what he did? Look what I wrote about him. I said, I want to thank this guy. He actually reposted that post. I think it's down here that I saw, maybe you've seen this before, military. I'm requesting help. You don't have to send me any money. You don't have to buy my book. You don't have to do anything. Just repost. This is what needs to be done for a whistleblower when you have government corrupt. Just repost. How many MAGA people have just said, nah, guess what he did? He reposted. What did I say? I said, I don't think we share a lot of political beliefs, but I'm amazed how many fake MAGA people, fake, because if you're MAGA, you're a patriot and you say you support military veterans, you support against the big state, government corrupt. That's exactly what I'm reporting. I'm a military vet. In fact, I am pro-Trump, this and that, but they ignore him, not him. And look at that. So now, what am I saying? Am I aligned with him politically? No. What do I think? This is again why Charlie Kirk got shot and I wouldn't get shot. I really wouldn't be pushing my political beliefs on the far left. The far left, I would just say, is we're just going to have to split. You do whatever you want. You want to have no guns in California. I don't know. You want to have homosexuality, have the best of it. We're getting to the point. Think about it. We don't care about Ukraine. If you're a nationalist, don't care about Ukraine. Don't care about Taiwan. Don't care about Israel. And sooner or later, we're not going to care about California. I don't care about Minnesota. It just will split. But until then, they're not the number one enemy. If you could focus on the federal government, this government elite, and we're going to show it. But I just want to use that point. All these MAGA people, military support, this guy, at least he reposted. He did something small. The rest of them didn't. Let me now go to this one right here. Look what Pam Bondi said. This is what I say in there. Pam Bondi says, if we prosecute everybody in the Epstein, the whole system will collapse. What do I think? People, it's going to happen sooner or later. I've said that. This plane is going down. It's either going to be a hard landing or a soft landing. It's going down, people. Let's just do it. If you think, look at my situation alone, the systems aren't working. I should not be speaking here on social media. Where's the government? We had this far left guy who I just showed, this Israeli Ukraine guy. He reposted my message. Something simple, but thank you very much. We're the MAGA people. They don't care about me. They don't care about you. This globalist government doesn't care about us. Let's go on to the next. This kind of goes into it. We're going to get to the white race. So then I want to talk about this here quick. Hopefully everyone can see this. This is Owen Schroer. Now I want to bring out to Owen Schroer something. He had me on his show twice. If you go back, had me on his show twice. And even Owen said, he's like, David, I don't understand why your story is not big. It should be big. What's interesting is after that show, he didn't have me on anymore, which is fine. And then he had on the FBI grifters. I wonder what the FBI grifter said about me, because I'm telling you that these guys are absolute grifters. So I thank him. He had me on his show twice. I told my story, and then I didn't hear from him. I got censored on X, and then I never heard back from him. It was fine. I have nothing positive things to say about Owen, but he did have the FBI grifters on his show after me. And I'd say, so here it is. These FBI grifters and me, we should be allies. We should be working together. No, these people are scumbags. The same reason that I would say, hey, we should be enemies of China and Russia. They're our enemies, not the American government, not the American corporations. They're our friend. They're not. these American corporations will stab you in the back, and this American government will stab you in the back. Americans, like even like I said, like if you look at the most, I don't want to say the word elite, I think it's overrated, but people served in the military, very small percentage. FBI, small percentage. West Point, small percentage. Guess what? We don't like each other. Don't like each other. It just is. Our values are different. Meaning, if you cannot have, we'll just say the FBI agents, which is a very small group of people in America, if we cannot get along and see eye to eye with our principles, it's going down. Now, let's see what Owen posted here. We're going to do it. I think this guy is saying what it is. I agree with him.
I just watched an interview Trump did about this whole Epstein thing, and he said that, I quote, "I think it's time for the country to move on to something else." No, bro. No. We brought you in to clean house. We brought you in.
So again, I don't know who this guy is. Good for Owen Schroer for saying this. He's speaking truth, this guy. We brought Trump in to drain the swamp. This Epstein file should be front and center. And all these faggot MAGA people who really don't care about military veterans, they're all behind Trump and they're quiet. This Epstein file should be front and center. We know that. Anyone with common sense knows it.
And to bring the noose back. We brought you in to clean the swamp. Enter whatever fucking funny saying you want to say. We brought you in to handle shit. No, we're not moving on. We've moved on from fucking everything else. We're not moving on from this shit. Because it's black and fucking white at this point in time. Did some people...
MAGA also would like to say, this guy, David Baumblatt, move on. Who cares? He's a military veteran. Who cares? It's a scam artist. Who knows what they're saying about me? They do it to me, they'll do it to you. What are our principles? Do we not care about military veterans anymore? Do we not care about American citizens? If you're put on the FBI terrorist watch list, if you're not, like, who cares? Move on. Eventually, it's like a corporation. They don't care about you. I'm telling you, as you're starting to see more and more Americans get bulldozed over, sooner or later, it's coming to you. And sooner or later, you got to look at the far left and say, listen, I'm not politically aligned with you, but we share a common enemy. That's this globalist government, these globalist corporations.
Need to fucking hang. So one of two things is going to happen. You're either complicit with everybody and you wanted to move on because you got some big fucking problems ahead of you, or you're going to do the job that we brought you in to do, which is hang some people. You and Dana can do it in the front yard of the White House.
Interesting. He's got a Chinese, I don't know who this guy is. He's got a Chinese tattoo that's called courage on his right arm. It's called Yong. But he's absolutely right. One of the reasons that when I left America in 2010, this system's over. And I looked at the Republicans and the Democrats generally as the same. They both suck. When Trump came aboard, I was excited, and I still believe he's different. But as we're seeing him more and more, I'm really looking at him as he's American corporations first, American citizens. It's the same old thing. The same old thing. The Epstein files. It's not to protect the citizen. It's to protect the corporations. The tariffs. They're not to protect the citizens. It's to protect the corporations. You know, Greenland, it's more. So this system's not going to get solved, people. It's not. I really think, give it time. You're going to see this system will eventually collapse. And eventually, just like George Washington and our founding fathers created America, they used guns and ammo. The same thing's coming because it happens throughout the world.
White House before or after the UFC event, we don't much give a fuck. However, if you don't start putting some people in nooses soon, and I mean like soon, shit's gonna pop off in this country, cuz shit is gonna.
Oh my God. So I remember these West Point faggots. Now, these were West Pointers that were being paid by the FBI to spy on me. I was having private conversations and I was telling them, we were talking about the January 6th. I had nothing to do with the January 6th. And I've said, I think the January 6th was not national security. I think it was a protest that got out of hand, generally speaking. And I do think there could have been some minor jail time for some people. But I mentioned comments on there. These were private conversations with my West Point friends. And sure, private conversations, you might say stuff. But I mentioned too, I said, you're going to watch. People are going to get smoked. They push it more. These politicians are going to get smoked. I don't give a fuck. But this sort of violent language, sooner or later, it's going to go mainstream. As much as we want to say, don't talk about violence, you're going to see it. People are going to say the only way that's going to solve this, even me that left America, I always said, no, I got a better solution than violence. Just leave America. They still come after you. I still cannot believe it. But I'm telling you, guns and ammo are going to come to America. We already had one civil war. Another one's coming. Don't think I'm wrong. You think Mr. Indian man, Kash Patel, is going to protect us? Send that motherfucker back to India.
To pop off in this country because there are a lot of people like me that just don't give a fuck anymore. You're taxing us to death. Fucking, we're done. You understand that? There's a lot of people like me that love life. We love living. We love being alive.
Think about it. What are you going to think when you start seeing patriotic Americans start smoking people? And again, I hope they don't smoke the far left, and I hope the far left doesn't smoke the far right, because you're idiots. But they start smoking, oh yeah, the government. Remember what I said about that Preddy shot in Minnesota? And again, I'm pro-ICE when it comes to foreign nationals. But I'm telling you, they went overboard with that U.S. citizen. They smoked that motherfucker, and they shouldn't have. It was absolutely illegal and immoral what they did. And you look at in January 6th, this law enforcement apparatus is going to continue to get bigger and bigger. The guns are going to be pointed on you. The guns are going to be pointed on you. We don't need a bigger government now. Our taxes are being drained. I'm living in China. I'm telling you, they're not the number one enemy. And we're going to go into the racial part. Anyone knows about how I view, people have seen the comments of what I talk to Chinese people. The amount of racism that the white cuck guy would not say, oh, I say to the Chinese all the time. Say it all the time. I would not let any of these Chinese immigrate to America and become U.S. citizens. But they're not the number one enemy. They're not. This guy, you're going to see it. Violence is going to come. And once it does, and if it happens like George Washington and the violence wins, then all the cuck Americans are like, I'm against violence, but fuck it, they won. Okay, I'm fine with it. And that's it. That's how most people are. They're sheep.
We love our children. We love our family. But at the end of the day, the route that we're going, we're already slaves. You think we want to let our kids be even more indentured servants to you motherfuckers in D.C.? And you can call me crazy. You can call me whatever the fuck you want. But I know goddamn well that there are millions upon millions upon millions that think exactly.
And remember, a lot of these MAGA people, now they're harping on the Second Amendment. Remember that shooting in Minnesota? That guy shouldn't have brought a weapon, a gun, to a protest. I don't know. I thought that's what the Second Amendment was. And again, I believe that person, whatever this guy's name, Alex Preddy, he should have been arrested. I get it. He's a left-wing lunatic. I get it. He provoked the police. I never said he should not be arrested. But you're telling me this guy should have been smoked, and you got MAGA people saying, well, he shouldn't have brought a weapon. I am telling you, at the end of the day, the most important freedom or right that you have in America is your guns. Your guns. If there's any freedom that you better protect, it's the Second Amendment. I don't care if it's far left or far right. You better protect the Second Amendment, because this government is going to come for you.
Exactly what I'm saying right now. They have no fucking problem going out in a blaze of glory to ensure the next generation isn't fucked the same way that we're fucked by some of you scumbags. I brought you in, Trump, to do a fucking job. You better fucking start doing it.
Yeah, so let's go to this one right here. And the reason I want to show this tab right here, let me make sure is, and again, I'm not on the bandwagon of China, but, and again, I think we should also agree that Epstein files, it's a lot more than child molestation or pedophilia. It's a lot more. But I could tell you something, in China, they don't screw around with this stuff. That's why my lawyer, he knew I was going to win the case. Anything like feminism, pedophilia, like it's not tolerated in China. So anyway, this is just a couple of articles. China executed 3 convicted of sex crimes. Not a surprise to me at all. You don't screw around in China like that. Let me just watch this other one here. We're just going to do this really quick. China makes child molestation punishable, execution now. Absolutely. All that woke stuff. Now, you might think all that white woke stuff is coming from the far left. I think it's coming from the globalist government, the globalist corporations. That's what they push a lot of this stuff. And then what I want to do is, after we did that, it's time to get into today's episode. But before I get into today's episode, I'm just going to share this video, and then I'll look at the comment sheet and we're going to share it. But I want you to ask yourself, what do you think about this video right here?
You've lost. You have lost. You lost. The mistake that you made is you let us in the first place. See, that's the thing with brown people. I'm going to say this as a brown person. There's a lot of us. Like a lot. There's like 1.2 billion.
In fact, you know who else is a brown person? The FBI director. Isn't it great? Isn't diversity our strength? Aren't you so happy, you cucks in America, that you have a brown Indian man as your director? Don't you feel good? I would never allow it. Now, who would J. Edgar Hoover allow? White men. White men. The entire FBI is white. But that's called racism, right? And even if you're MAGA, you're woke. And man, you think it's awesome. Because even as MAGA, they think diversity is our strength. As long as they're competent. As long as they're competent. Diversity is our strength. So what this guy's talking about brown people, oh, he's right. In fact, the FBI director, Indian man, I think he would agree 100%.
In India, there's more than 200 million. In Pakistan, there's like 170 million in Bangladesh. Those are just the people there. I'm even talking about the folks who are expats or immigrants. There's a bunch of us. And we breed. We're a breeding people. And the problem is you let us in 1965. There were a few of us beforehand, but once you let one of us in.
So he's talking about the law. In 1965, we changed the law where it was restricted to white Europeans immigrating to America. We opened up the floodgates. Isn't it great now? Isn't America a great place now?
You know what happens with brown folks? Our grandmother comes, our grandfather comes, our uncle comes, our aunt comes, our cousin comes.
Same thing with the Chinese. I mean, he's talking about this could be Africans, Asians. I mean, it's a very similar Mexican, similar story.
Our second cousin comes, our third cousin comes. Then we have kids, a bunch of kids. And then guess what? Some white women, the Western civilization women, the pure women, the American women, quote unquote, the Rust Belt women, the real women, they like some of us brown folks.
Yeah, and those women I would consider to be whores, really traitors. In fact, if you're a white woman and you like Indian men, no problem. I would deport them back to India and have fun. If you're a white woman and you're like, I like Indian men, I have no problem with it. Deport her to India. And your mixed Indian kids, they get Indian citizenship. If women would do that, I'm not saying I would be happy, but I would be much more tolerable. But they don't.
We don't take them. They come to us. You've lost.
Okay, so what I want to do is, I see Shane on here, my girlfriend's left. You're going to see it. The far left and the far right are not primary enemies, but we're not compatible. There's no doubt about it. We have a compatibility. But think about it. There's many people who got divorced from their wife or husband. You live in separate communities, separate states. You don't want to kill each other, but you're separated. There's a divorce. That's the best way I would describe how we should look for the far left. I have no hatred. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of them are weird, the homosexuality, the this, the that, but I have no hatred for them, but we're not compatible. And the best way to look at them, but who really does not want us to separate? The global state. So what I want to do is, let me open this up quick, and then we're going to talk about my China experience, but let's open this first quick to Tucker Carlson on this, because I think this is
the numbers. So here's what they were. The biggest city in the United States then and now is New York City. New York City in 1950.
Let me start it here. Okay.
All right, those were the numbers. So here's what they were. The biggest city in the United States then and now is New York City. New York City in 1950 was 90% white.
I want to hold on. I'm going to do some other videos, but you could see Tucker becoming more, I guess, awake or woke, whatever the word is, black pill, that one, race is real. Before he wasn't so much, but what he's saying here is absolutely true, meaning race is real. White people are becoming a minority, and it's a problem.
71 million New Yorkers out of 7.9 million were white. Chicago in 1950 was 86% white. Philadelphia, over 80%. Los Angeles, 94% white. 94% white. That's almost an ethno-state, actually, at that point. Detroit, Michigan, home of Ford, GM, and Chrysler, 84% white. Baltimore, steel and shipping capital of the Mid-Atlantic.
Also, when he talks about, we're going to wrap this together, but when he talks about these percentages, do you think they're going to reverse, even with Donald Trump? Remember Donald Trump? Because again, the MAGA people love legal immigrants. love them because it's about money. But I want you to ask yourself, is this trend going to change unless something drastic happens, like a civil war collapse? Do you really think it's going to change under the Trump administration or JD Vance, remember the future president? He's got his mixed kids with his Indian wife. I want you to ask yourself, the trend has been going on for 50 years now. Do you think it's going to change? I don't think it's going to change unless something drastic happens.
76% white. That was 1950. You know people who were alive in 1950. Maybe you were. Here are the numbers today. Baltimore, 27% white. Detroit, about 10% white, down from 84. Los Angeles, again, 94%, about 37% white now. Philadelphia, 36%. Chicago, less than 30%. And New York City, again, the biggest city in the country, is now around 30% white.
I mean, do you imagine? Now, remember, if you're not only the far left will probably think this. The difference between the far left and the far, well, not the far right, we'll say the MAGA. The far left thinks it's awesome. So I disagree with them. But the MAGA people, they don't think it's awesome, but they think it's not important. Sort of like the Epstein files. It's not important. White, black, Mexican, as long as they pay their taxes and they economically produce, who cares? It's like not important. Really, to the MAGA people, race isn't important. To a nationalist, race is very important.
Down from 90% in 1950.
Yeah, Tucker's right. And you can recover as a country from
All right, so what I want to do is I want to open this up with a couple things. We're going to go watch a couple of videos. So the point is, when we think about America, I say this again, one of the key differences is between, and I focus on MAGA because I'm telling you, for the same reason that Donald Trump split the Republican Party, and he did a good job. These are rhinos, they're not our friends, and this is MAGA. Great job to Donald Trump. MAGA is going to split again because you have MAGA that I call, again, like the American corporations first. That's like MAGA. America, that's why they don't like illegal immigrants. It's not good for the economy. It's still about the economy. If you're a nationalist, race matters. Just like MAGA jokes with the far left, gender is not real. Yeah, well, race is real. Let me show you my time in China, because when I left America in 2010, I wasn't very racially conscious. It just wouldn't, these conversations would make me feel uncomfortable. And I would just think you're a racist, like this is wrong. Because growing up in America, I would think, yeah, us white guys, we're racist and diversity is our strength and all this stuff. China's absolutely changed me. We're going to do a clip. I want to go after this to a black person clip, but I want to show you something. I need to tell this. If you're a black person in America, I just want to focus on black people because this is the clip. If you don't like how white people treat you in America, I get it. Go back to Africa. You don't want to go back to Africa because you look down upon Africans. You're very racist. But my point is, what I'm trying to make is, who is going to treat you better than white people? I live in China. I know China more than probably 99% of Americans do. And I'm telling you, I'm focusing on the black people because that seems to be a very high level of racial sensitivity. The blacks and the whites, the word nigger, like all this, it's very sensitive. I'm telling to the black people, you could believe me now or you will believe me later. If you think whites don't treat you nice, fairly, whatever, all this stuff about racism, you have no clue how bad it's going to be when the Asians are in charge, or the Indians, or the Mexicans. The way they will treat you will be at a so much worse level than you can imagine. Because I'm telling you, how the Chinese view black people is at such a horrendous level compared to even close to white people. Now, there'll be these influencers that say, hey, I'm a black guy traveling in Asia, and Asian people are awesome. They always do, and a lot of them are getting paid by the government. There's always going to be these onesies and twosies. I know a black guy in Shanghai, and she or he says it's great, they're talking out their asshole to you because because the first question is, are they even a citizen? Just ask them. So if they're in China, just say, hey, curious, are you a Chinese citizen? No. Why not? You can't be. Just on the, and I'm telling you, the Chinese don't want it. But the level of racism, now, I've said many times, this is not a negative view on China. Their culture, it's what they do, and I don't have a problem with it. That's what they want to do in their country. I'm telling you facts, though, that if you think racism from white people are bad, when these Chinese get to America, because again, I don't believe the Chinese government and the Chinese people are that much different. They're about 90% the same. That if America gets flooded with Chinese, and I could say the same thing about Indians, you black people are going to feel a pain that you've never felt before. And even when it gets to that level, the country's going to fall apart. Let me just show one thing here, because again, we don't have to go so much into this clip, but
You're going to.
We're here about.
No, but you're going to.
We're not going to talk about him. We're not going to talk about him at
this is basically a clip right here. You know, Deontay Wilder, this is a professional boxer. And I want to make this clip because there was an incident that happened to me in China about an African American that's interesting. We'll watch it. It's only 2 minutes. Watch this clip and I'll comment on it.
all. Understand that?
No, fair enough.
All right, then. So let's move on. It's all about everything.
Just so you know, he's doing an interview with some boxing commentator and he's pulling out the race card. My name's Deontay Wilder. I'm a multi-millionaire thanks to the American Western system. I'm popular, I'm rich, but I'm a poor black person. I want to complain about racism. Yeah, I don't have any sympathy anymore. But hear his complaint, and then I'm going to tell you a story about in China with the African Americans.
Soren, that's it.
I understand that. You've called him a cheat. And it leads me
the biggest in boxing.
That's like a little bit flaky. You lost those fights. And those fights were lost. Kind of disappointing to me about you because
I know the truth. I have the facts.
Okay.
Understand that. I risk my life for you's entertainment to see.
No, absolutely.
So why I ain't never lied about none in this business. Why is it so hard to believe a black man than a white man? Understand me? Why is it so hard to believe a black man than a white man?
Why you don't believe it?
Why is it?
First and foremost, it's got nothing to do with color.
No, it does.
So you can tell Deontay Wilder's getting mad. He's throwing out the race card, but this is normal. But remember, the difference between Deontay Wilder, unlike other Americans, this guy's filthy rich. America has treated him very well, very well. He's not going back to Africa.
This whole country got some. This whole world got something to do with race. You think your life has been like mine?
Listen,
come on, you got white privilege, brother.
Oh, don't start.
I ain't never had that.
Don't start my.
I'm a black man.
Oh, here comes the white privilege. I would ship this nigger back to Africa.
With dark skin, ain't nothing ever been given to me. We done been through so much.
Okay.
So much.
Hey, you wanted to move on, right?
Come on, man. Try to give you a vision, a little insight of what we go through as black people, man.
I got it.
You know, you don't get it.
Well, okay.
None of y'all get it.
Oh, I get it. Wait till I tell you my story in China about black Americans.
Y'all don't get it. That's the problem. You think you get what you don't understand.
Okay.
Why is it so hard? Man, let me get the out of here, bro. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Talking about my peoples and all that shit. It's hard to believe a black.
Talking about his people, I thought we're Americans, right? We Americans? Well, that's going to be a lie. A lot of dumb cuck white Americans are going to wake up. This whole thing of we Americans, yeah, that's pretty much meaningless.
Black man and a white man. The cheated. Tell him to sue me so I can show the facts early. Because when the documentary and everything, the story come out, I'm going to show everything.
Fantastic.
I'm going to get all the people that know and all the people that's in the inside. He got people that the inside of him that can know. I don't about that. I said we didn't want to bring him up in the first place. It ain't got shit to do with him.
Fair enough.
The you talking about?
Yeah. All right, that's enough. Let me tell you my quick story. Then we're going to get more into race in America. When you're in China, and I'm going to think, I've heard this is same with other non-Western countries. We're just going to tell you a story about African Americans. Now, and again, I don't have a problem with African Americans, but African Americans, you have to wake up. This is the best country you have. Otherwise, leave. You were born in America? I was born in America. Nobody's keeping you from leaving America. I left. In fact, my problem is the United States government has not allowed me to leave. So this thing, well, I was born in America. Go back to Africa. You don't want to hang around with black people. So here we go in China. In America, and this is not just with blacks, this happens with other races, but they play the race card. I'm African man, I'm black man, I'm African man, I'm black man. When they go to China or other non-Western countries, the Chinese call them what's called Heguiza. Heguiza is their word for nigger. It basically means black devil. It means nigger. And so the Chinese don't look very highly on the blacks. I get it. You're going to see some propaganda that says, no, blacks are treated great in China. No, it's a lie. They're not. African Americans, they go to China, and the Chinese, which are very racially oriented people, they will say, oh, you're African. Now, of course, in China, there are different blacks. There are blacks from Africa. There could be, I mean, not many. I mean, there's so most of the blacks in China are from Africa, though, because the trade is going back and forth. There's not many American or African American blacks. And part of the reason is if you have an American citizenship and you're a black person, you ain't living in China. But if you're from Africa, it could be the best opportunity. Go to China, despite the racism. But anyway, the Chinese will be like, oh, you're black. And it is amazing to see the African Americans, like a guy like Deontay Wilder, change. First of all, you don't pull any of that shit in China, like Black Lives Matter, the black people. It's dangerous in China. You don't do that. They don't tolerate that. China is a racial state that belongs to the Chinese. The amount of bullshit like the Deontay Wilder's complaining about racism, you don't do it. The Chinese are racist to you, but you're just going to have to take it. But here's the key point. They will immediately say, whoa, I'm not African. I'm not black. That whole thing that they portrayed in America is gone. And you'll see there's other videos in YouTube of black people traveling around the world. And they said this. It's so true. They said, when I left America, it was the first time I felt like an American. What does that mean? What are they saying? What they're saying is when they go overseas, because black people are extremely racist. White people were the least racist. Black people look down upon Africa. Think about it. If they don't, why wouldn't they want to move to Africa? Because they look down upon them. They think they're low, savage niggers. I didn't say it. They said it. So they don't want to be associated with them. They use it in America as a race card. They race bait, affirmative action, sympathy, like Deontay Wilder, who's a multi-million-dollar athlete. He's complaining. They go to Asia, though. They don't want to be associated with black people. So they'll say, dude, I'm an American. And I'll be there like right beside them. And they'll be like, yeah, like David. I'm like David, man. We're brothers. And I'm like, oh, now you're an American. Now you're proud to be an American. Because what they're trying to do is they don't want to be identified for their race. Because they know these other countries in the non-Western world, they don't really like black people. So they take their ethnicity and they throw it away. And then they use their passport and their nationality. Because when they're overseas, if you're a black person in China, again, if you're from Africa, you're screwed. You have no choice. But if you're a black American, you could say, what is a better status? An American or a black person? It's easy. You want to be an American. The problem is the Chinese, they will recognize that the American citizenship is higher, but they're still looking at them as a black person. But the black people, it's so interesting. They will throw their, and the same thing like in America, it's like, notice there's racial tensions, which is normal. Again, a multiracial society doesn't work. The whites, the blacks, the Mexicans, and you have this tribal warfare. Then all of a sudden in China, that African American with his American passport, oh, he's my brother. He's like, yeah, me and David, man, we're brothers, man. We're Americans, man. We're the same. All of a sudden, why? Because they don't want to be associated with being black. Whereas if you're a white guy, it really doesn't matter what country you're from. You know, you're from Denmark, you're from France, you're from America, you're from Australia. It doesn't. Now the political, though, you got to be watch out being American because there are political. But in terms of status, just being white is nice in China. But you don't want to be a black person. And also the African Americans want to separate themselves really quick from the other Africans from Africa, saying, no, I'm not those people. Those people from Africa, man, I'm American. See my passport? I'm a proud American. You'll see them change very quick. I just want to show that because, like I said, when you see this stuff in China, it's very interesting. And what you also realize is this whole thing about the race card and everything in America, what you'll realize is these people are spoiled. We know that. Because what did I keep saying? Nobody treats women, racial minorities, and immigrants better than the West. None, no other country. And we have spoiled them. Deontay Wilder, you are a spoiled bitch. You think I'm wrong. Deontay Wilder, why don't you move to Africa? Because you look at Africans as low-life monkey niggers. I didn't say it. You said it. Why don't you? You grew up in America. I get it. Your life was tough. A lot of people's lives are tough. But overall, you became a rich, famous person. Your fame and fortune is more than 99% of white men in America. Without a doubt, 99% of white men in America, your fame and fortune is higher. And yet you still complain about the white man. Guess what they would do in China if you did that? They would send your nigger ass back to Africa. You have no clue how ruthless the Chinese will be. The same thing with me. Do you think I push any political agenda in China? Zero. I don't push anything. The amount of bullshit that gets pushed in America on this stuff, it's amazing. And it's done because of one reason, the weak white man. It's the weak white man. And I never would talk like this before I went to China. But after living in China, it's radically different. And what you'll realize is we have absolutely spoiled women and racial minorities. Let me go to some other videos here so you can kind of see it. Let's go with one thing here about Tucker Carlson here quick. Well, let's go to this one talking about the
we know from all those beautiful old English.
So for this is we're going to be looking at what's happening in America. It's happening in the UK as well. We know this.
Films and murder and the Midsummer Murders and all those places, they've decided now, James and Rita, that they need to be less white. They're too white. Oh, what a surprise from a Labour government. James, what's happening?
Well, this is a shocking story because there's this outfit called the Department for the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. Of course there is. Now, I mean, this is one of those stories where you want to sort of imagine what it would be like if they were saying it about any other kind of country or culture. Because what they're saying here is in England, which is an Anglo-Saxon country, Anglo-Saxon people...
Yeah, and just so you know, England, or we'll just say London already is a racial minority for whites. Can you believe that London, the capital of the UK, is already white minority? Is that shocking? Some of you may not know that. So the UK, these were many of our forefathers in America hail from. George Washington, British, that the capital city of London is already white minority. And how's the UK doing? It's falling apart. We know that.
Traditional occupants of
are they the First Nations?
The traditional owners, shall we say, of the British Isles are, hate to say it, white, but apparently that's a really bad thing, according to these bureaucrats who think that, oh, no, what's really needed to do is have a big diversity drive, make all of these destinations much more attractive for people of color, for minorities to come and settle and live and visit and do all of the things, because, they've already made London and Birmingham and places like that gloriously diverse, and so why wouldn't you want to do the same thing to the English countryside? But you just have to think, why, if anybody had said, oh, we need to make, Nigeria less black, or we need to make Japan less Japanese, or something like that, people would go nuts.
So we get what he's talking about. The same things happen. I want to focus a little on Carl Tucker here. And
it wasn't that long ago that
the reason I want to focus on Carl Tucker a little bit is as you probably know, Tucker Carlson is also a bit of a transformation. What he's saying now, that first clip about white race, he wasn't as extreme as that. One of the reasons is, well, he's not working for the big corporations anymore. He's a multimillionaire. He doesn't care, and he can speak the truth. But either he was ignorant before, which is fine. We all learn. I mean, China taught me. or maybe he knew, and he's just chasing the money, working for Fox News, and Fox News is like CNN. Not that much different as far as I'm concerned. But I want you to see this older clip of Tucker Carlson and kind of how he talked. There's two clips, and there's a transformation. What I'm trying to do is, if you're MAGA and you believe race is not real, if you believe race is not important, if you believe that America can become a white minority and that's just dandy, no big deal, I would say you're just retarded, and it's just going to take time, and you're gonna have to see. Let's hear what Tucker has to say.
Calling someone a racist was a big deal. It was a devastating attack on a person's character, if not blood libel. Now, everywhere you look, people just barely to the right of Al Gore are being denounced as white supremacists, white nationalists, neo-Confederates. It happened to
So again, he sounds good. It sounds good. This is his olden days, but push comes to shove, he's still very politically correct on this issue.
Us last week. On a website called Mediaite, blogger Justin Baragona wrote a piece entitled "Tucker Carlson Isn't Even Trying to Hide His White Nationalist Leanings Anymore." His evidence for this? Well, it was a segment we did pointing out that the Democratic Party has basically given up trying to appeal to the American middle class and has started openly encouraging illegal immigration. We didn't mention race at all because it's irrelevant. Stagnant blue-collar wages hurt black.
I want you to listen to what he just said. This is what I'm saying. If you look at Tucker Carlson has also done a transformation on feminism with men. He now believes marriage is a raw deal for men. There's other clips about him when he was Fox, how men need to, you've heard this before, men need to man up. No, they don't. And if you know what men need to man up to do, we should restrict women. They shouldn't have the right to vote. How's that for manning up? We should change the entire marriage law. How's that for manning up? He wasn't for that. He just that men are just being too wimpy. Now look what he just said. Race doesn't matter. It's just the color of your skin. Let's play that again. Maybe so we can make sure he said it correctly. Let's just play that again.
Openly encouraging illegal immigration. We didn't mention race at all because it's irrelevant.
We didn't mention race at all because it's irrelevant. And he said that many times. So I'm not getting all the clips before, but race is irrelevant. Now remember, the MAGA people make fun of the far left for saying gender is irrelevant, that gender isn't real. And we're right, they're retarded. Gender is absolutely real. And MAGA does the same thing with race. It's, who cares? I'll do some more on it. But anyway, Tucker was also very woke in that regard before.
Stagnant blue-collar wages hurt black Americans in St. Louis every bit as much as they hurt white Americans in Des Moines.
And if race doesn't matter, why do we use these terms, white Americans, black American? Because race is real. That's what matters. If you had a daughter or a son and he says, Mom, Dad, I'm bringing home someone to get married, you don't think race matters at all? Nothing matters? Then I don't know. Then give it a time, because I've said this before. I think a lot of white Americans are never going to change until they become a racial minority. Like, I just don't think any explanation I'm going to tell you race is important, danger, the white. I just don't think it's going to matter to a lot of people. They're going to still say that's racist. But once you become a racial minority, like I am, it's going to dawn on you. And it could be too late, which I think it will be. It's going to be guns and ammo. But I think a lot of people will not understand the concept of race until you become a racial minority.
How exactly does that qualify as white nationalism? Well, Justin Baragona didn't explain, nor did he accept our invitation to come on this show and lay out his reasoning, because like an awful lot of name callers, he's a coward. Too bad. It would have been interesting to hear someone tell us exactly what a white nationalist is and how we qualify. Baragona is not the first person to make that charge, by the way. It's absurd and untrue, not to mention conveniently imprecise. So typically, we just shrug it off on the theory that it's pointless to argue with demagogues. But there's enough of that kind of libel flying around the country right now that we thought it might be worth taking a second to lay out clearly what this show believes on the question of race. Above all,
yes, I'd like to know, Tucker, what do you believe with race? I believe race is real. Race is important, and identity politics is the laws of nature. You're not going to change it. Let's see what Tucker has to say.
believe that skin color is not the most important thing about a person.
Okay. Maybe, meaning skin color, because again, he's being a cuck, skin color. Race goes more than skin color. It's your DNA. Is your racial identity is something more important? It's possible. I don't know. Your religion, but you could change your religion, your gender, you know, I don't know. But I would say who you are as a person. And again, we get it. You're trustworthy, loyal, healthy, friendly, brave, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, brave. I'm doing the Boy Scout oath here. I guess so. But your race is pretty important. And if you go to non-Western countries and Israel, don't worry, we got an Israel clip at the very last. It's very important. Talk to the Jews, you little faggot, Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson was a bit of a faggot. I don't know how much he is now. Talk to the Jews and say, race doesn't matter. Does it really matter if someone is racially Jewish to be part of the Jewish community? Guess what they'd say? Absolutely. I don't know, Tucker. Talk to the Chinese. Does race matter? But if you watch Tucker in his olden clips, he's very cocked.
What matters most is how you live, the choices you make, what you love.
How you live, the choice. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like floaty liberals now, like, you know, love and honor. I get it, but what does that mean? Meaning, what's honorable with one? I mean, I don't. Your race is important, you little faggot. Race is important. End of story.
What you hate, how you treat others. Now that puts us at odds with the modern left, which classifies people.
Okay, so now it's the left. So remember, this is him working for Fox News. This is Tucker Carlson making millions and millions of dollars here, working for the corporations. The reason why I think Tucker now is more popular is because Tucker now is a filthy rich person who, we got one more clip on Tucker. And Tucker may not know about me, but if he does know about me, I don't know, Tucker, what are your values? I'm an American military veteran, and I'm not welcome back in the country that I helped defend. But you, Tucker, were a coward, and you never served in the military, and you made money, and you don't even want to get me on your show or report this about government corruption. I don't know, Tucker. What are your values? But I say again to the audience, do you think it's possible that Tucker now is more popular speaking the truth because he's already a self-made millionaire and now he's not working for the corporations like Fox News? Is it possible? We'll get to the last clip, but like I said, this is a lot of these Republicans, rhinos, MAGA people. Not very popular to me.
First and foremost by their race. We think that's unfair. Your race is one thing you cannot control. You were born with it. That's why it's wrong to judge people on the basis of it. In fact,
no, I think it is. In China, they judged. Our founding fathers judge. There's nothing wrong with it. That say this is for this race and this is not. If you're not Jewish, try to immigrate to Israel. The Israeli people will judge you for that race. This is typical. This is like I'm telling you, this country sucks. It really shows that at the end of the day, we really are a corporation.
that used to be the very definition of racism before liberals changed the rules to exempt themselves from it. Now, this show is based in Washington, D.C., the most democratic city in America, so we know and like a lot of people who call themselves liberal. Many of them are decent human beings, and they're motivated by noble impulses. Some of them sincerely believe that tribalism empowers people. They're wrong.
No, Tucker, they're right. Look, what I want you to do is look at the transformation of Tucker and then ask you, why did he change? I don't know. Before, he worked for the corporations, the biggest threat, but he made millions of dollars, so now he's not. And now he's speaking more truth. You don't see any connection with that, how Tucker was before? Tucker was actually talking out his asshole back then, out of his asshole. Let's keep going on that. So he thinks tribalism is bad. No, tribalism, go back 100 to 200 years, tribalism was the predominant political ideology around the world. The only countries that are not tribalism are Western countries. Listen, you don't think China is tribal? 100%. You don't think Israel is tribal? 100%. This is Tucker. This is corporate Tucker talking. This is the same Tucker who says he's an American, but he's got no time for a military veteran, as that fat fuck enjoys his freedom in America. We'll see.
Tribalism diminishes people. It makes their unique qualities irrelevant. It lumps them into a pile with a lot of other people who just happen.
No, what tribalism does, it also brings people together for brotherhood. This is also a piece of shit Tucker Carlson who never served in the military. He didn't have time. He didn't want to die for America. He just wants to make money. And now this guy knows about how much leadership in my fucking big toe. Tribalism is part of leadership. When you build a military, you build a tribe. When you build a brotherhood, you build a tribe. You know who else has a tribe? The Jews. The Jews have a very strong tribe. You know who else has a big tribe? The Chinese. There's nothing wrong with tribalism. It is a form of strength, protection, and unity. That is what many American white men are lacking in America. That sense of brotherhood, that sense of tribalism. This Tucker right here is a piece of shit working for Fox News, making millions of dollars, and he's got no time to report on an American military veteran with government corruption.
Happen to look alike. It's dehumanizing. It erases the individual. Unfortunately, it's also politically hard to resist. Groupthink and race hatred are remarkably efficient
race hatred, I'm telling you, back then, he would think far right are a bunch of race haters.
Organizing tools, as both parties have proved over the years. And so tribalism flourishes in this country. In the workplace, in the academy, in the media, the left has created systems where people are judged, punished, and rewarded.
It's always the left for Tucker, the left.
Solely based on their immutable characteristics. This is bigotry, the very definition of it. Yet, in an Orwellian sleight of hand for which they become justly famous, the left now claims that all who complain about this are themselves bigots. The most remarkable part is how quickly progressives have forgotten the lessons of the worst things this country ever did, slavery and segregation. Not everyone who looks...
Oh, the worst, slavery, segregation. This is Tucker here. This is old corporate Tucker.
Alike is alike. Collective punishment is immoral. If you find yourself generalizing about entire groups, stop. It never ends well. And more than...
So what I want to do is do one final clip on Tucker Carlson. And again, if you remember the first clip on Tucker Carlson, he's on it. Notice the first clip. Oh, you got to go back. I know I've been speaking for an hour. What did he say? The white population's dropping in America. The white population dropping. This is important. This is an emergency. I agree. I get it. What changed, though, Tucker? What changed? Maybe he was just an idiot before and now he's woke. That could be sort of what happened to me. It also could be he was working for Fox News, who I said is the #1 enemy. The corporations, the globalist corporations, CNN, Fox News, all the same. He's made into millions of dollars of preaching ill-advised leadership to white men. He was talking to his asshole. He thinks he knows leadership. He doesn't. Made his millions, and now he's retired. One final clip on Tucker Carlson, pretty interesting, because I'm telling you, this system, the enemy is from within. This is Tucker Carlson here.
Did what I try hard never to do.
So let me explain this clip a little. I don't know. This is a Dutch guy, and there was behind-the-scenes footage. But what this Dutch guy said is absolutely true about the corporations and also about Tucker Carlson, who back then he's a piece of shit. Now, if Tucker Carlson knows nothing about me, I get it. But if he knows about me and he's purposely not either having me on the show, which I get it, or at least somehow sending my word to politicians, or I mean, he wants to help out America. He's an absolute piece of shit. But watch this clip. This clip is pretty interesting. But back then, I think a lot of people were for Tucker and like Tucker's right. This Dutch guy, who I don't know much about, this guy's right. Let me play the whole clip here.
On this show, and I was rude. I called him a moron, and then I modified that word with a vulgar Anglo-Saxon term that is also intelligible in Dutch.
Notice Tucker, he wants to be very politically correct. I said this, I said that, I said that. You're a faggot, Tucker. It's okay. I'll call you a faggot.
In my defense, I would say that that was entirely accurate, but you're not allowed to use that word on television. So once I'd said it out loud, there was no airing the segment.
Why don't you go yourself, you tiny brain, and I hope this gets...
Okay, so this is Tucker yelling at the guy, which I get. We all look at me. He's using foul language. That's not really important here. What gets important is Why did Tucker get triggered by this guy? That's the key point of this argument.
Picked up because you're a moron. I tried to give you a hearing, but you were too annoying.
So Tucker's mad, obviously. In fact, Tucker now, he's apologizing on air for, so you could tell something really triggered Tucker. What was it? Let's go.
Can't handle the criticism, can you? I hear people talk in the language of participation and justice and.
So again, I don't even know who this guy is. He's a Dutch guy. This is an older clip, but what he says is on it.
Equality and transparency. But then, I mean, almost no one raises the real issue of tax avoidance, right? And of the rich just not paying their fair share.
So now he's talking about the rich, the tax avoidance, which he's totally right. And what did I say? The far left and the far right, we agree that these rich bastards, which let's face it, Tucker is part of the 1%. He's part of the 1%, but he's too busy for me, even though he's never served in the military. And I do believe these rich aren't paying their taxes. End of story. So that's sort of the conversation. Let's see where it goes. But so far, meaning this guy from the Netherlands, he might be a far left guy. I don't know. But we agree that it's not really about far left and far right. It's about these global rich elite and basically the rest of us, like the Epstein files. Let's see what he says about Tucker Carlson.
I mean, it feels like I'm at a firefighters conference and no one's allowed to speak about water. You are a millionaire funded by billionaires.
Okay, so now he's accusing, which is true, he's accusing Tucker of being a million. I mean, how much money do you think Tucker is worth? I don't know, 10 million, 50 million? I would be surprised if Tucker's worth 100 million or more. Are you kidding me? He's in the 1%. In the 1%, a guy who's never served in the military and a guy who's preached this bullshit. And see what this guy from the Netherlands says.
That's what you are. And I'm glad you now finally jumped the bandwagon, you know, of people like Bernie Sanders and AOC. But you're not part of the solution, Mr. Carlson. You're part of the problem, actually.
So what I believe Tucker Carlson got triggered was he was saying, just like these Democrat elites, you're a Republican elite. You guys are not that much different. And that hurt Tucker Carlson's identity because he's like, no, the problem is these Democrats, not these good Republicans. No, you're both kind of the same. What have I kept saying? Because look at Tucker Carlson. When you're a multi-million dollar person, it's very difficult for you to not be part of that. And then Tucker wants to preach to us that tribalism is bad. So I agree, though, Tucker Carlson recently, the last year, he's starting to speak more truth to power. Why? One of the reasons he's probably not working for the corporations anymore. He doesn't need their money. Plus, he's filthy rich. But if you look at his old videos, not very good. So we're going to end it with the typical video in terms of all this white replacement. Let's talk about Israel. Because the reason I put this stuff up here about the white replacement is this stuff is just weird. You just have to look at this and just say, I don't even know who this woman is, but she's some person of importance, but she's talking about Donald Trump. And again, we opened this up with Sean Ryan, and Sean Ryan and me should be two military guys. I thought he was going to have me on his show. Didn't, because he thought maybe I'm racist or I'm a far right person. But what is Sean Ryan is now thinking about the Trump now with the Epstein files? People are getting more disillusioned. What helped me was China. China, when you leave America, you become disillusioned fast. I mean, it's warp speed how fast it happens. I never believed how fast it was going to happen. Sean Ryan, it's taken a while. But look at this clip. You telling me that this is not odd? It's a very strange clip. Another reason probably why I'm not invited or welcome on many talk shows.
Citizen first, but I want you to know.
Okay, 1 second. Let's make sure we get this here. Okay, so I don't know. She's an American citizen first. Let me bring this down so everyone could see this big here. Let's see what she says.
I told the president, I said, listen, I love America. I'm an American citizen first, but I want you to know that I'm very, very concerned about Israel, and I'm so.
Okay, she's very concerned about Israel. That's nothing wrong about that. I mean, you could be an American, you could be an Irish American, a French American. I guess you could be a Chinese American. And you're also concerned about another country, your homeland. So, on face value, there's nothing wrong with it. If you're a Jewish American, you're like, listen, I'm also concerned about Israel. On face value, I don't see anything wrong with that. But let's see where this video goes. And again, the key is this an isolated case with this woman, or is this more mainstream, at least with the Republicans or whatnot? I think it's more mainstream. And if it is, it's just very weird.
Happy you're my president because I know you'll take care of Israel. Yeah. He took my hand and he said, as long as I'm your president, I promise you Israel's in good hands.
Okay, so the president, again, if anyone knows who this woman is, she's some famous woman. But anyway, I mean, she's talking to President Trump. Not many people can talk one-on-one with the president. So President Trump said, as long as I'm president, Israel will be taken care of. That's fine, but I've always said, wouldn't it be nice if our American politicians and American people would care as much about American military veterans or American citizens and down the line before Israel? Wouldn't that be common sense that Donald Trump says, before I take care of Israel, I'm going to make sure I take care of the American citizens, and then I'll take care of Israel. Something like that, some type of politically correct statement. But it's like this overwhelmingly love for Israel at the expense of, I don't know, I'm a military veteran. Am I important? No. You're just a vessel to die for the government. Just send you out there to die. But it's just very weird. Let's continue on, see what she says.
Promise you Israel's in good hands. And I love Netanyahu. And I was like, oh, thank you, you know. Wow. I really was that moment.
Okay, so she's some newscaster woman, some bimbo.
I was so grateful that Kamala Harris was not the president. Well, what I love about Trump is.
Well, that makes you wonder maybe why Trump won. So maybe Trump was more pro-Israel than Kamala Harris. Not saying I would have voted for a black woman like her. I mean, I think the whole voting system's over. But still, it makes you wonder, maybe that's why Trump won. Who knows?
That he recognizes anything that's a concern to Israel is also a concern to America.
I don't know about that. Anything that's a concern to Israel is a concern for us. I definitely don't see that when it comes to Ukraine or Taiwan. Any concern for Israel is a concern for the United States. Not quite sure about that statement. That's pretty interesting.
Because Iran specifically, they say, well, death to Israel. Okay, what happens after Israel's dead? It's America next. Trump is.
Oh yeah, just like Afghanistan, Iraq. Here comes the doomsday people.
One of the few people who I believe recognize that. A lot of Americans are very quick to say, well, it's Israel's problem, it's not ours. They don't understand.
I don't know. I mean, I've said before, I lived in Taiwan. Taiwan's nice. Oh my God, what a great place. And I think if China takes over Taiwan, whatever. So it is what it is. But in terms of Israel and this issue, I don't know. Do you really think, I mean, I say again, what does America first mean? And I believe America first generally means, like I said, Trump, American corporations first, the American elite first. Meaning there's some type of monetary tie to Israel or loyalty or whatever. But if you're an American citizen first, not quite sure what the connection is with Israel and America. I don't see that. This woman does. I mean, I'm assuming she's Jewish American, but she loves Israel. Let her go to Israel and join the IDF and die for Israel. Wouldn't that be a suggestion?
Thank God, America's very lucky. We don't really have wars. We don't know.
Well, we do like to start a lot of wars. We as Americans, like it or not, we are the most in the history of mankind. We are the most war-raging country that's ever been. You know, for good or for bad, but it is what it is.
What jihad is. We don't know what it's like to fight people who don't care to die.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to dive so much on I don't want to make this an Israel thing, but it always seems to pop up, no matter what topic. But I would tell the Americans, and what did I say about Director Ray, the FBI director who got shit canned? If you want to keep America safe domestically, I mean, there's Americans getting shot walking down the street by gangs and this and that, and you're worried about, remember the Taliban? I mean, are you really worried about Iran? I mean, I'm living in China. I wouldn't worry about that much. I just wouldn't. I mean, if you really want to keep America safe, probably worry about the white population. Because if this immigration continues, and I tell you, Trump doesn't like illegal immigration. Oh, they like legal, though. They love legal immigration. But if the white population continues to drop, you're going to see violence you've never seen before. And like I said, I go back to the ICE. When ICE focuses on foreign nationals, thank you for your service. When ICE smoked those 2 U.S. citizens illegally, don't like it at all. But I'm telling you, this system begins to evaporate. I don't think you're going to be really worried about Iran or China or the Taliban or ISIS. Probably focus, like I said, why don't we focus on America first, American citizens? And who built it? If George Washington was alive today, what would you always ask yourself when we talk about values? If you're an American, if you're a patriot, shouldn't you respect our founding fathers? I could tell you in China, and I'm telling you, Mao Zedong, he did some wacky stuff. The Great Leap Forward, not exactly a good idea. I mean, 30 million Chinese died, but the Chinese honor their forefathers. It's amazing. You don't disrespect, like in America, like the national anthem comes up. People, in China, the national anthem comes up, you're a foreigner, you better stand. In China, you're a foreigner, you never say anything bad about China's founding fathers, their emperors, Mao Zedong. You don't. They respect them. So what's my point? Well, who are our founding fathers? George Washington, the founding fathers. So if you're ever confused on your moral compass of what is right or wrong, and you say you're a proud American, and you say you're proud, then you should be proud of our forefathers. You should respect. What would they say? Would our forefathers say, you know, race isn't important, doesn't matter. If whites become a minority, who cares? Not at all. We know that. The original American citizens were only white men. I believe there's going to be some constitutional scholars here. I think it was white men who owned land and this and that. Ain't no non-whites. No non-whites, no women. So that's kind of how our forefathers were. But when she talks about this whole Israeli thing about protecting Americans from threats abroad, we have threats domestically. And why? Probably the way white men, our relationship with women, we should have never given women the right to vote, racial minorities, who, because how we treat them, they're going to turn into a majority, and immigrants, who are also going to turn American citizens. How has the white man done on this? Not very good. So, like I said, I just want to leave it at here. And by all means, if there's any question, I would be happy to get on these shows and debate. If anyone's watching, because I see the viewers, if anyone has any questions or want to debate or anything, write your questions in the comments, and I'd be happy to say this, because I agree that when I left America in 2010, I wouldn't really be having this conversation. I would think sort of like race isn't important. It's whatever we have in here. It sounds good. It sounds politically correct. It's just a lie. The same reason you could tell a woman and a man, I get it. You know, there's stuff inside a woman, there's stuff inside a man. But at the end of the day, she's a woman, you're a man, and you're different. Maybe a little, maybe a lot, but enough where gender is real. The same thing with race. The race, well, I have no problem with the Chinese. I actually like the Chinese in many ways. I wouldn't let them immigrate to America. I would not let them become American citizens. But you white guys want to do it and have fun. And so I think, like I said again, I think a lot of, whether it be my audience or people in America, I've already realized that most people, there's not going to be convincing. It's not. You're going to have to wait until the system gets worse, like you become a racial minority, then you're going to wake up, or the system collapses in guns and ammo. Until then, I just don't think people are going to realize that race is real. And as white men who have become a minority in America, you're seeing a relationship between the country falling. As the percentage of whites in America decline, so does the American population. And I think Trump superficially cares about it, but there's many things I don't think he's helping. And he's still the best I could think of, but the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. You're going to see something different. So until then, if there's any final comments, I'm looking on here. If anyone's got any questions or comments, write it in there. I'm sure the FBI is. So again, here's the FBI. And I've said many times, the FBI has spent at least $10 million on my investigation. There's an FBI informant or an FBI agent watching this show. Why? Because investigating David Baumblatt is more important than the Epstein files. And then if you ask the FBI agent, what illegal acts are you investigating me for? You know what they'd say? Don't know. Never done anything illegal. But they really want this. It's kind of like the White House. But Epstein files? Nah. And you've got to look at yourself. And more Americans, just like I showed the clip with Sean Ryan, they're also starting to wake up. The only reason I keep saying this wake up is when you leave America, especially going to a country like China or Russia that's the enemy, where you're in the belly of the beast, what do you realize? Well, they're definitely not a friend or our ally. I wouldn't definitely trust China with Huawei and stuff like that. I get it. I wouldn't allow Chinese to immigrate to America and become American citizens. I get it. But they're not our number one enemy. It's just not. It's so ridiculous you'd ever see. And what happens? Like warp speed, you start changing. And what does the American government not want to do? They don't want people like me telling our stories. And I'm telling you, you are going to start seeing the FBI go like they've been doing. Anyone that is against the regime, they're targeting you. Whereas Epstein, even though what the people are in the file, they're guilty, they're immoral, but because they're part of this mafia, this elite mafia that's also Trump is part of, they will be protected. There's two forms of justice, people. And again, I'm living proof to say that. I never would believe, never, that I would get justice in the Chinese court systems, but in the American court systems, not only did I not get justice, I didn't even get my day in court. That she automatically ruled that this is the federal judge. This system's done. And these are many points I could say, just like the FBI, who's willing to go behind my back, who's now in the audience, but they don't have the balls to face me one-on-one. And if anyone would really look at this story like a Tucker Carlson, you would see the same thing. This is the most craziest thing. But we know our government hides stories like that. You know, just sort of something like Pat Tillman's stories. We know our government purposely tries to hide stories that legally paint the government, these agencies, these corporations. Amazon and Boeing are like quasi-American government. They protect them. Just like the Epstein files, our government is protecting the global elites. In my story, who am I up against? The FBI, Boeing, Amazon, federal judge. That's as much as the global elites you want. They don't care about us. But sooner or later, more American citizens, because it's going to get to you, sort of like even Sean Ryan, where you realize, oh my God. And believe it or not, if you're MAGA, you're going to look to the far left. You're not going to like them like me. You're going to say, those people are weird. And it's sort of like a wife getting a divorce. Like, we cannot live together with these people. But you're also going to say they're not an enemy. Because think about it. Who's preventing us from getting a divorce? Think about it. What's happening in Minnesota? I could care less. Just split with Minnesota. Who's preventing that? The globalist government, the globalist corporations. They don't want it. So that's where you need to focus on. Let me see anyone else. Yeah, Don. Yeah, the FBI's on here. They're on your taxpayer, Don. They're like, Epstein files, forget it. Let's get David Baumblatt. And that's what and you're going to see arrests. What did I predict? You are going to see arrests come out of the Trump administration. Like the FBI said, arrests are coming. And you know what it's going to be? They're all going to be state level, not very, very high. You're going to see it. Think about it. If it's very high, I don't know, Bill and Hillary Clinton, you don't think Bill and Hillary Clinton possibly should be arrested? Won't happen. Think I'm wrong? Let's see. But you are going to see, because the FBI right now under Trump, there's more pressure. Because the MAGA people are like, where are the arrests? We said the government's corrupt. Well, someone needs to be arrested. Where are they? They're all going to be low level. You're going to see it. When's it going to happen? Let me just see anything more here. Shane, they can come and get me. I'll do stories of the FBI. What you'll find is in the FBI, and I'll do it, there are more incels working in our government in the CIA and the FBI that you can imagine. I'll tell a story. One of my guys that I work with, he was a former Division I football player. Cool guy, and we joked about it too. One of the most overrated jobs, but a lot of people go into the FBI really were losers. They never were somebody of importance. And so they want the badge, they want the gun, and all of a sudden they're important. Even the grifter whistleblowers, if you look at them, not very impressive. Notice why they didn't quit the FBI? I don't know, just quit. You can still be a whistleblower and quit. Let me just look in here. I have an off-road accident that I didn't cause the video proof. Basically, I broke everything in my knees. I'm reading here, Shane. Blamed it easier, watched the kid die. We'll see where this thing goes. Again, this is David Baumblatt from Terrabin's Leadership. I appreciate your support. If you press like and send this off, I appreciate your help. Until then, till the next video, lead to victory.